then we have some dinner. I thought it would be a little bit more interactive and all that. Wasn't expecting this big of a crowd. I don't know who the draw is. If Bayon's just a really good cook. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like a lot of folks are here. But I was thinking about long-term solutions, thinking about the long game. If you remember a month or two ago, the Church of Notre Dame burnt really badly, right? And I looked it up, and it turns out that they spent many, many centuries building that, like centuries upon centuries, knowing it would take centuries. It wasn't just, yeah, we'll get around to it, and then it turned out to be centuries. But they laid the foundation over 1,000 years ago, and it took them many centuries for it to build up. And that's just one cathedral. There are many cathedrals throughout the world that took a long, long time, many generations to build. And one of those cathedrals is in Barcelona. I actually visited it. It's called La Sagrada Familia. And it's this big ornate cathedral. And again, the architect Gaudi, it was going to take 3 centuries. And someone asked him, because this was like at a time when newspaper reporters were around, 1800s, say, Gaudi, why are you building something that's going to take 3 centuries to complete? And his answer was, well, my client is not in a hurry, right? Meaning God, right? He was building this for God, and this was greater than him, and this was going to take more than one lifetime to achieve. And I think sometimes we fail to see that what we're building here as Baha'is and as friends of the faith, we're trying to build a new world order, if you will, a new world community, and that's going to take a really long time. It's not going to happen in our lifetime or our children's lifetime or our grandchildren's. All right, I could be wrong. It could be that I wake up tomorrow and we're living in this beautiful golden age, right? But chances are it's going to take a while to get up there, and we shouldn't let that discourage us just because it's going to take a really long time to do it. And I think it's sometimes we get caught up. We think that the only thing that we should act on are the things at hand. So I think about, you might have heard the story, just imagine yourself at a riverbank. You're sitting there enjoying yourself, maybe you're doing some fishing, and all of a sudden you see someone floating down the river, right? Someone asking for help. Not asking, but shouting for help. Help, help. So what do, right? What is your moral imperative? Yeah, you go out, you try to help them. Throw them something, just grab it. If you're a good swimmer, just try to get that person to safety. And let's just say you do, and that person's like, wow, thank you so much. You saved my life. I'm fine. I'm going to go about my way. You can go back fishing. You're like, okay, I did a good deed for the day. Then 5 minutes later, another person comes floating down. What do? Yeah, you help them too. You don't say, well, I say one person, I really need to spend the rest of the day fishing, right? You help that person, okay? Let's just say it's a third person. You're like, I guess I'm going to help this person. But at what point do you say, you know what? I'm going to go upstream and see why so many people are falling into the river here, right? At a certain point, yes, you can spend the rest of your day fishing people out of the river. But at a certain point, you go up the river and you're like, aha, here is the problem, okay? Whatever the problem is. There's a bridge was out. There's a slippery slope. People are clumsy. They're not looking. It's too dark. You fix that problem, and then you no longer have to spend every waking moment getting people out of the river. And you can apply this in a lot of political situations. And I'm not here to, let's talk about the southern border between Mexico and the United States, but I want to do that as an example where you have a lot of people who come to the border, and a lot of them are escaping civil war. A lot of them are escaping economic hardships. Some of them are escaping terrible family members who beat them and whatnot. A lot of them are just trying to get out, make a better life, right? And so everyone is fixated on how do we get these people, what do we do? Do we let them into this country? If we do, what do we do? Should we send them away? How do we do it? But no one is asking, hey, wait a second, let's back up a second. Why are so many people feel compelled to travel thousands of miles to get here? Like, what is happening over there? But no one is really asking those questions. Because those countries, I mean, if you think about it, there are a lot of people who are here. They spent a lot of time and wherewithal. They spent a lot of money to get that far. What we don't see, so we see all those people on the border, but what we don't see are the folks who died along the way. We don't see the people who were actually kidnapped and human trafficked somewhere where you don't hear about them. And the people you don't hear about the most are the ones who have no means of getting out of that country. And those people are arguably suffering the most. But nobody is talking about them. We're just talking about the short-term problem of what are we going to do about these folks who are at the border now. And I'm not here to say I got some great ideas for that. What I'm saying is that as a world community, if we were really a world community where we thought about America, not just what's good about for America, but what's good about the entire world, then all the other nations, all the southern hemisphere, the northern hemisphere would come together, and we would talk about how we can bring up the economy of these Central American countries. We can talk about ending any civil wars or civil unrest that might be happening there. We could be talking about the rule of law, so that if a wife is getting beaten by their terrible husband, they don't need to flee so far. They can go to the authorities there and get it solved. Because let's face it, Guatemala and Nicaragua, those are great places, and they need people too. You don't want America to take all the people away, leaving no one there. You really want an equally rotating economy worldwide. You want to end civil war and refugees. I know I've been friends with Sina for the better part of 10 years, and I'm happy he's here. I really am. I'm glad that America was able to take him in as refugees. He's getting married in a few months. He's got a great life. But it happened as a result of oppression. And so as much as I love Sina being here, there could have been another time where there's no longer religious refugees that are coming here. And those are long-term goals. We deal with Sina now, right? We find a solution for him, but then we also have to worry about the long-term goals of making the world a better place.